Let me tell you something that might just change how you see yourself forever. Confidence is not something you're born with. It's not a gift given to a few chosen people. It's not reserved for the loudest, boldest, or most naturally outgoing ones. Confidence is a habit. It's a muscle that grows every single day, in quiet decisions, in moments when no one's watching, and in the times when you push through fear even though you could easily give up. Think about it. When you were a child, you didn't think twice before trying new things. You fell, you got up. You spoke, you stumbled. You danced even when you didn't know the steps. You didn't need someone to approve of you. You were naturally confident, not because you knew what you were doing, but because you believed you'd figure it out. That's the real essence of confidence. It's not about knowing everything, it's about trusting yourself enough to take the next step. But somewhere along the way, life happens. You fail a few times. You get rejected, you compare yourself to others. And slowly, that natural spark of self-trust begins to fade. You start thinking confidence is something you either have or don't. You look at others, the ones who walk with certainty, speak with power, and make things happen, and you wonder, what do they have that I don't? Let me tell you what they have. They've built it. They didn't wake up confident. They worked for it, brick by brick, habit by habit. Confidence doesn't grow in comfort. It grows in the doing. It grows when you keep showing up, not just when it's easy, but especially when it's hard. Every time you show up for yourself, even in small ways, you cast a vote for the kind of person you believe you are. Each vote says, I can trust myself. I can handle this. I'm not quitting this time. That's where confidence lives, not in the applause, not in the compliments, but in self-trust. Most people chase confidence like it's a feeling they'll one day stumble upon. But the truth is, feelings follow actions. You don't wait to feel confident before taking action. You act, and through action, you become confident. Think of it like lighting a fire. You don't wait for warmth before striking the match. You strike first, and warmth follows. The same goes for confidence. You act first, you show up, you try again, and slowly, the warmth of self-belief begins to grow inside you. Here's a truth you'll hear me repeat throughout this audiobook. Confidence is built, not bestowed. And the builders? They're habits, small, daily behaviors that shape your self-image. Every confident person you admire has built their mindset through patterns of thought and action that reinforce belief. They've trained their mind to focus on what strengthens them, not what weakens them. They've made choices that align with who they want to be, not just how they feel in the moment. Maybe you've spent years doubting yourself. Maybe life has knocked you down more times than you can count. Maybe people have made you feel like you weren't good enough. If that's you, listen carefully. You can rebuild, you can retrain your confidence. Because confidence is not fixed. It's flexible, it's like clay, it reshapes every time you take a small, courageous action. And that's what this audiobook is all about. Not empty motivation, not fake positivity, but real, practical habits that help you rebuild your confidence from the ground up. By the end of this journey, you'll understand that confidence isn't about perfection, it's about progress. It's not about never feeling fear, it's about moving through it. And it's not about becoming someone else, it's about finally trusting yourself enough to be fully you. In the next 10 chapters, we'll explore 10 daily behaviors that shape real confidence. 10 choices that, if practiced consistently, will change how you see yourself forever. Before we begin, take a moment to think about this. If you lived the next 30 days as the most confident version of yourself, what would change? Would you speak differently? Would you take that risk you've been avoiding? Would you show up more boldly in your work, your dreams, your relationships? Confidence is the gatekeeper of everything you desire. When you strengthen it, every area of your life expands. So, as you listen to this audiobook, don't just let the words pass through you, practice them. Confidence won't grow because you understand it. It will grow because you live it. Remember, you don't have to be perfect to start. You just have to start, and stay consistent long enough to see who you can become. Confidence is not a spark someone else gives you. It's a fire you learn to ignite within yourself. Every morning you rise, every time you keep going, every moment you choose belief over fear. And when you master that, you become unshakable. Chapter 1. Show up for yourself every day. There's a quiet truth that separates those who build unshakable confidence from those who only dream about it. It's not talent, it's not luck, it's consistency. The most confident people in the world have mastered one powerful behavior. They show up for themselves every day, no matter how they feel. They've made a decision. I will not negotiate my growth with my feelings. Because confidence isn't built on emotion, It's built on evidence, the evidence that you can count on yourself. Every time you say you'll do something and actually do it, no matter how small, you strengthen the bridge between who you are and who you believe you can become. That bridge is called self-trust, and it's the foundation of confidence. When you show up for yourself, even on the days you don't feel like it, you prove to your mind that your word means something. And when your word starts to mean something, your confidence begins to grow like roots under the surface. You can't always control what happens around you, but you can control how often you show up for your goals, your growth, and your purpose. That control, that discipline, creates inner power. Here's a truth most people don't want to hear. Motivation is a temporary emotion, not a strategy. If you wait until you feel ready, you'll wait forever. Confidence comes when you act before you feel ready, when you show up in spite of fear, doubt, and tiredness. You can't rely on motivation to build confidence. You rely on momentum, the power that comes from consistent action. The more you show up, the easier it gets. Not because the challenges shrink, but because you grow stronger. Think of it like a gym for your mind. If you train once and stop, your muscles fade. But if you train daily, even lightly, your strength multiplies. Confidence works the same way. Every small act of showing up compounds. Every morning you choose discipline over comfort, you're reinforcing one message: I am reliable. And that reliability to yourself is the heartbeat of confidence. Let's talk about mornings. Every day begins with a choice. Do I hit snooze, or do I rise? Do I scroll through distractions, or do I build my day with intention? How you start your morning sets the tone for how you see yourself. When you choose to show up, to move, to work, to plan, to pray, to write, to breathe, you're sending a signal to your brain that you are in control. You're not waiting for life to happen, you're creating it. Even something as small as making your bed, journaling your goals, or stretching for 5 minutes tells your mind, I keep my promises. I take myself seriously. And over time, that self-respect transforms into quiet, unshakable confidence. Here's what psychology tells us. Your brain releases dopamine when you complete small tasks. That's the same chemical that fuels motivation, excitement, and confidence. So, when you set a tiny goal, like finishing a workout, cleaning your space, or completing a task you've been avoiding, you're not just checking boxes. You're training your brain to associate effort with reward. The more small wins you stack, the more confidence you build. This is why showing up matters so much, even on hard days, especially on hard days, because when you show up despite the struggle, you teach your mind, I can do hard things. And that single belief can change your entire life. Now, let's be real. You'll always have a voice in your head that whispers, not today. You're tired, it doesn't matter anyway. That voice isn't your enemy, it's your comfort zone trying to protect you. It's afraid of failure, afraid of change, afraid of growth. But here's the secret. You don't silence that voice by arguing with it, you silence it by acting anyway. Every time you take action despite the doubt, that inner resistance weakens. Confidence grows not in the absence of fear, but in the decision to move forward despite it. You don't overcome fear by thinking your way out of it, you outgrow it by showing up again and again. When was the last time you looked in the mirror and truly respected the person staring back at you? That respect doesn't come from appearance, achievements, or applause. It comes from integrity, doing what you said you would do. When you break promises to yourself, your self-image cracks. You start to see yourself as unreliable, and your confidence sinks. But when you follow through, even on the smallest commitments, that mirror starts to reflect someone strong, disciplined, and worthy of trust. So here's a practice. Each night, ask yourself one simple question. Did I show up for myself today? If yes, celebrate it. If not, forgive yourself, reset, and promise to show up tomorrow. Because confidence isn't about never falling. It's about never staying down. Imagine planting a seed, you water it once, nothing happens. Twice, still nothing. But with time, consistency, and care, it breaks through the soil. That's what happens when you keep showing up for yourself. You won't see results instantly. But deep beneath the surface, your identity is shifting. You're becoming someone who follows through. Someone who keeps going. Someone who can be trusted. And that kind of self-belief doesn't fade. It becomes part of who you are. You don't need to change everything overnight. Start small. Show up for your body with one workout. Show up for your mind with 10 minutes of reading. Show up for your dreams with 15 minutes of focused work. The point isn't how much you do, it's that you do it consistently. Confidence doesn't grow in intensity, it grows in repetition. The more often you keep your word, the louder your self-belief becomes. Let's be honest, showing up every day isn't easy. There will be days when everything feels heavy. Days when your goals feel far away, and your energy is low. That's when most people quit. But here's the secret that separates the confident from the uncertain. Confident people still feel all those emotions. They just don't make decisions based on them. They've learned that feelings are fleeting, but discipline lasts. You may not control how you feel, but you always control whether you show up. And that choice, that daily decision, is what keeps your confidence alive. When you live this way long enough, something powerful happens. You begin to move differently. You speak with certainty. You carry a quiet strength that doesn't need validation. Why? Because you've built trust with the most important person in your life, yourself. You know that no matter what happens, you'll handle it. And that belief, that inner certainty, is what people feel when they call someone confident. It's not arrogance, it's alignment. You've aligned your actions with your words, your habits with your goals, your identity with your behavior. So, remember this. Confidence begins when you show up. Not perfectly, not powerfully, just presently. Because when you show up for yourself, even on your worst days, you are rewriting the story of who you are. You're no longer someone who waits for change, you're someone who creates it. And when you live like that, day after day, moment after moment, you become unstoppable. You become unshakable. Chapter 2. Speak power into your mind. There's a voice inside you that never stops talking. You hear it every morning when you wake up, every night before you sleep, and in every quiet moment in between. That voice, your inner dialogue, shapes how you see yourself. It can be your greatest strength, or your biggest enemy. Because the truth is, the most important conversation you'll ever have is the one you have with yourself. Every word you say to yourself carries energy. It's either building your confidence or breaking it. You see, your mind believes what you tell it most often. If you constantly repeat that you're not enough, not smart enough, not strong enough, your mind will start to shape your behavior to match those beliefs. But when you start speaking power into your thoughts, when you choose words that lift instead of limit, you rewire your brain to see possibilities instead of problems. Confidence begins in your language, because the language you speak to yourself becomes the world you live in. Here's something you must understand. You don't describe your life by the way it is. You describe it by the way you see it. And the way you see it is filtered through the words you use every single day. Your words create your reality, not magically, but mentally. Because your brain listens. Say, I can't, and it stops trying. Say, I can, and it starts searching for a way. That's how powerful your self-talk is. Inside every one of us are two voices, one of doubt and one of power. The voice of doubt says, you're not ready. You'll embarrass yourself. You'll fail like last time. The voice of power says, you've got this. You've come too far to quit. You can handle this. Confidence grows when you feed the right voice. Because the more you repeat empowering thoughts, the stronger they become. Your brain forms new neural pathways that reinforce belief instead of fear. It's not about lying to yourself. It's about leading yourself, reminding your mind of your potential, even when it forgets. There's a difference between saying, I'm trying to be confident, and saying, I'm a confident person. The first statement tells your brain you're chasing something outside yourself. The second tells your brain that confidence is already part of your identity. That's why affirmations work, not because they magically change your life, but because they program your focus. What you consistently affirm becomes what you naturally notice. Say, I'm disciplined, and you'll start behaving in ways that confirm it. Say, I'm always failing, and you'll subconsciously seek evidence that it's true. Your brain loves to be right. So, make it right about something powerful. Here's a practical truth. You can't stop negative thoughts from showing up, but you can stop agreeing with them. Confidence doesn't mean you never doubt yourself. It means when doubt shows up, you don't hand it the microphone. When your inner voice says, I can't do this, you respond with, I can learn how. When it says, I always mess things up, you respond, I'm improving every day. When it says, I don't belong here, you answer, I've earned my place. You're not ignoring reality, you're redirecting it. You're teaching your mind to focus on growth instead of guilt. That's how confidence sounds in your head. Your words are seeds. Every sentence you plant grows into belief. So plant words that nourish your power, not your fear. Tell yourself every day, I am becoming stronger. I am learning. I am worthy of my own respect. I am enough, not because I'm perfect, but because I'm growing. And then back those words with action. Because words alone are noise, but words backed by effort? That's transformation. Here's a simple but life-changing practice. Each morning, look yourself in the mirror. Really look, and say 3 powerful truths. Something you're proud of. Something you're grateful for. Something you're working on. At first, it might feel strange. You might even laugh or feel uncomfortable. But keep doing it, because that moment, that daily conversation, rewires how you perceive yourself. You start to replace self-criticism with self-respect. You start to see the person you are becoming, not just the person you used to be. Confidence begins when you start treating yourself like someone worth believing in. Think about a song you didn't like at first but couldn't get out of your head after hearing it 20 times. Eventually, you started humming along. That's exactly how affirmations work. Repetition creates familiarity. Familiarity breeds belief. When you keep repeating positive self-talk, out loud or in your mind, your brain eventually accepts it as truth. So if you keep telling yourself, "I'm not good enough," you'll live that reality. But if you tell yourself, "I'm capable and I'm growing," over and over again, your confidence will start to rise, even on bad days. Your inner language becomes your inner strength. Start catching your inner dialogue in real time. When you hear yourself saying, "I always fail," stop and reframe it. "No, I'm learning how to win." When you say, "I'm not confident," replace it with, "I'm building confidence every day." You're not pretending, you're practicing a new mental habit. And that's how real confidence forms, one thought at a time. Be careful what you allow to enter your mind. If you constantly listen to negativity, online, from others, or even from your own past, it will slowly shape your self-image. Confidence is like a garden. You must protect it from weeds. That means setting boundaries around the voices you entertain, even your own. When you catch yourself thinking something destructive, pause and ask, "Would I say this to someone I love?" If not, why are you saying it to yourself? The way you speak to yourself teaches others how to treat you. So speak to yourself like someone you value deeply, because you are. Let's face it, we all have moments when we feel broken, defeated, or small. But those moments don't define you. What defines you is what you tell yourself afterward. When life knocks you down, your inner voice can either say, "This is the end," or "This is my training ground." Confidence isn't built when everything is going well. It's built when you decide to speak strength into your weakest moments. Every time you turn pain into power through your words, you become more resilient, more grounded, more confident. Here's a quick routine to reset your self-talk. Say out loud, "Today, I choose confidence. I choose clarity. I choose growth." Set the tone before the world speaks to you. When doubt shows up, say, "I can handle this. I've handled worse. I'm not backing down now." Before bed, whisper, "I showed up today. I gave effort, and tomorrow, I'll rise again." That's how you begin training your subconscious to believe in your strength. Remember, confidence doesn't begin in what you do. It begins in what you say to yourself about what you do. Your words are building your reality every second. So speak power, speak belief, speak growth, because the more you speak it, the more you'll live it. And when your words and actions align, your confidence becomes unstoppable, not loud, not arrogant, but quiet, certain, and unshakable. Chapter 3. Do hard things, even when you're scared. Let's get honest, fear never really goes away. No matter how confident someone looks, they've felt it too. The only difference is that they've learned a secret that most people never understand. Confidence is not the absence of fear, it's the decision to act anyway. Fear is natural, it's built into your DNA to protect you from danger. The problem is, your brain can't tell the difference between a real threat and a new challenge. Starting a business? Speaking up? Changing your life? Your brain reacts as if you're standing in front of a lion. Heart racing, palms sweating, mind screaming, "Run!" But here's the truth, fear is not there to stop you. It's there to test you. It's asking, "Do you really want this?" The moment you act, despite fear, your brain learns a new rule. I can feel afraid and still move forward. And that lesson changes everything. Think about the first time you tried something new. Maybe you were shaking, nervous, uncertain. But once you took the first step, it wasn't as bad as you imagined, was it? That's the pattern. Fear always looks bigger in your mind than it really is in real life. And the only way to shrink it is through action. Not thinking about it, not planning it to perfection, but taking that messy, imperfect, courageous step forward. Because action is the antidote to fear. Here's something powerful. Confidence doesn't come before action, it comes after. You act right pointing arrow, you survive right pointing arrow, you learn right pointing arrow, you grow right pointing arrow, you trust yourself more. That's the confidence loop. Every time you do something that scares you and realize you're still standing, your mind records evidence that you're stronger than you think. And the more evidence you collect, the more confident you become. So, if you're waiting to feel ready before you start, you'll be waiting forever. You don't need to feel ready. You need to move. Every new level of your life will demand a stronger version of you. And standing between where you are and where you want to be is a wall called discomfort. Most people stop at that wall. They touch it, feel the fear, and walk away. But the confident? They climb. They know that on the other side of that wall is transformation, and the only way through it is through it. Confidence isn't built in comfort. It's built in courageous discomfort. Every time you step outside what feels safe, you stretch the limits of what you believe you can handle. Ask yourself this. What's one thing you've been avoiding because it feels uncomfortable? Maybe it's speaking up in a meeting. Maybe it's starting that creative project. Maybe it's saying no to something that drains you. That's the edge of your growth. That's where your next level of confidence is waiting. The more often you step to that edge and choose courage over comfort, the more unstoppable you become. You might be thinking, okay, I get it, do hard things. But how do I actually push through fear when it feels paralyzing? Here's how. 1. Name the fear. Don't run from it, describe it. When you give fear a name, it loses its mystery. Example, I'm afraid of being judged. 2. Question it. Ask, what's the worst that can happen? And what's the best that can happen? You'll often find that fear magnifies the risk and hides the reward. 3. Shrink the step. You don't have to leap. Just take one small step forward. Fear grows in imagination but dies in execution. 4. Anchor yourself. Focus on your why. Remind yourself why this matters more than your comfort. 5. Take action within 5 seconds. Don't overthink. The longer you wait, the louder fear becomes. Count down. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. You'll never think your way into confidence. You act your way into it. Let's make something clear. Bravery is not the same as not feeling fear. Bravery is doing it scared. Every great thing you've ever admired was created by someone who was afraid but acted anyway. They didn't wait for the fear to vanish, they just moved forward carrying it with them. And that's what makes courage so magnetic. People who face fear and move anyway radiate confidence, not because they're fearless, but because they're fear-trained. You can train yourself the same way. Every time you face something uncomfortable, you're building emotional muscle. And over time, what once terrified you becomes normal. That's growth. When you think back years from now, you won't remember the days you played it safe. You'll remember the days you pushed through, the moments you said, I'm doing this even though I'm scared. Because that's where you met your real self. The version of you who's stronger than excuses, bolder than fear, and hungrier than doubt. That's the person confidence is built around. Fear will always try to disguise itself as logic. It'll tell you to wait for the right time. It'll whisper that you're not ready yet. But the truth is, the right time doesn't exist. You become ready by doing the thing. The first video, the first speech, the first business idea, the first, no, it's supposed to feel uncomfortable. That's how you know you're growing. Pain is proof that you're stretching beyond your limits. And stretching is the birthplace of confidence. If you want unshakable confidence, make discomfort your daily training ground. Do something every day that challenges you, physically, mentally, or emotionally. Take a cold shower. Say what you really think. Try something you've never done before. Ask for feedback. Speak when your voice trembles. You don't do these things to prove anything to others. You do them to prove something to yourself. That fear does not control you. When fear stops being your master and becomes your mentor, you win. You can't build confidence in theory. You build it in motion, through the grind, the risk, the stumble, and the comeback. Every time you do something hard, something that scares you, you're stacking evidence that you are capable, strong, and resilient. That evidence becomes the armor of your confidence. So don't run from fear. Run through it, because on the other side of fear is freedom. Freedom from self-doubt, freedom from limitation, freedom from hesitation. Courage isn't loud, it's quiet. It's the whisper that says, go anyway. And if you follow that whisper often enough, you'll wake up one day realizing that what used to terrify you doesn't even shake you anymore. You'll walk taller, speak clearer, think stronger, because you've earned your confidence through action, not luck, not talent, not talk. You did the hard things. You moved scared, you kept going, and that's what makes you unshakable. Chapter 4. Keep the promises you make to yourself. When you think about confidence, most people imagine someone walking into a room with their head high, a smile on their face, and the kind of energy that makes others stop and notice. But true confidence doesn't start in public, it starts in private. It starts in the quiet moments when no one's watching. It's built in the promises you make to yourself and keep. Because if you can't trust yourself, you'll always depend on others to tell you who you are. Every time you tell yourself you'll do something, wake up early, go to the gym, stop procrastinating, start that business, and then you don't follow through, you send a subtle but powerful message to your mind. I can't rely on myself. That message doesn't just disappear. It sits in your subconscious. It chips away at your self-image. And over time, it turns into doubt. It turns into hesitation. It makes you second-guess your abilities, your words, your worth. But when you do follow through, even on the smallest promises, your brain starts to rewire. You begin to believe your own word again. And that belief? That's confidence in its purest form. Confidence isn't a feeling that magically appears. It's a relationship with yourself. And like every relationship, it thrives on trust. Let's be clear, keeping promises to yourself doesn't mean you have to climb mountains every day. It means you build small wins that stack into unstoppable momentum. For example, if you say you'll drink more water, and you actually do, that's a win. If you say you'll spend 30 minutes reading something that sharpens your mind, and you follow through, that's another win. If you tell yourself you'll walk instead of scroll, create instead of complain, or finish what you start, you're reinforcing one truth: I can trust me. And the more often your brain receives that message, the more it starts to expect success from you. You become a person who delivers. A person whose word means something, not just to others, but to yourself. That's where quiet confidence grows. There's a powerful paradox most people never realize: discipline is freedom. At first, it feels like the opposite: structure, routines, commitments, all seem like chains. But when you live with discipline, you stop living with guilt. When you keep your promises, you stop saying, I should have, and start saying, I did. You stop carrying regret, and start carrying momentum. You don't need to fake confidence, because you've earned it. Every small act of discipline builds a layer of self-respect. And self-respect is the foundation of confidence. So when you wake up early even when you don't feel like it, when you say no to comfort and yes to growth, when you finish what you started, you're not just building habits, you're building proof that you are who you say you are. Ask yourself right now, if your best friend broke every promise they made to you, would you still trust them? Probably not. Now think about how often you break promises to yourself. How often you say, I'll do it tomorrow, or I'll start next week, or this one time doesn't count. You wouldn't tolerate that from anyone else, so why tolerate it from yourself? The truth is, the fastest way to rebuild self-trust is to start small and stay consistent. Promise only what you will do, not what you wish you'd do. Start with one commitment you can keep every day. Something simple, like, I'll journal for 5 minutes. I'll stretch for 10. I'll spend 10 minutes learning something new. Then keep that promise like your life depends on it, because your confidence does. Integrity means alignment between your words, your actions, and your values. When those three align, you walk through life with power. You no longer need to convince others of who you are. They can feel it. People who lack confidence often live in a gap between their words and actions. They say one thing and do another. That gap becomes tension. That tension becomes insecurity. And that insecurity becomes self-doubt. But when your life is aligned, when your behavior reflects your beliefs, that's when confidence becomes effortless. You don't try to act confident, you are confident. You move differently, you speak differently, you think differently, because you're no longer pretending, you're being. Here's a simple system to practice keeping promises to yourself daily. 1. Set one non-negotiable. Choose one thing each day that matters most. It could be a workout, a task, or a healthy habit. That's your daily promise. 2. Write it down. Put it somewhere visible, on a sticky note, journal, or your phone wallpaper. Seeing it makes it real. 3. Check in midday. Ask yourself, am I honoring my word today? If not, there's still time to realign. 4. Celebrate completion. At night, say it out loud, I kept my promise. Feel it, let your brain record the win. 5. Repeat tomorrow. Confidence compounds through repetition. Each day you follow through, you earn interest in your self-belief bank. Let's be real, you'll slip sometimes. Everyone does. You'll miss the gym, you'll break a streak, you'll let emotions win. But confidence doesn't come from never falling, it comes from rising quickly. When you break a promise, don't spiral into guilt. Guilt destroys momentum. Responsibility rebuilds it. Instead, pause and say, I fell short today, but I'm still in control. Tomorrow, I'll keep my word again. The key is not perfection, it's persistence. When you've built a habit of keeping promises to yourself, something powerful happens. Your mind stops negotiating with fear. You don't overthink every move. You don't need constant validation. You act because you know you'll handle whatever comes next. That knowing, that quiet certainty, is unshakable confidence. People will sense it in your energy. They'll feel it in your presence. But the most important thing is, you'll feel it in yourself. Because at the end of the day, confidence isn't about impressing others. It's about trusting that the person in the mirror will always show up, no matter what. So, let this chapter be a reminder. Confidence isn't built by shouting louder, or pretending you have it all together. It's built in the quiet choices you make when no one's watching. It's built when you say, I'll do this, and then you actually do. Start today. Make one promise, keep it, then do it again tomorrow. That's how you become unshakable, one kept promise at a time. Chapter 5. Stop seeking approval, start seeking growth. There's a quiet prison that holds more people hostage than fear, failure, or even poverty. It's the need for approval, the craving to be liked, validated, or accepted by others. It doesn't matter how talented, beautiful, or intelligent you are. If your self-worth depends on someone else's opinion, you'll never truly feel confident. Because you've placed your power outside of yourself. And here's the truth most people never face. You can't be confident and approval hungry at the same time. Confidence says, I know who I am. Approval seeking says, please tell me who I am. You have to choose one. From childhood, we're taught to chase approval. We want parents to be proud, teachers to praise, friends to accept, and society to applaud. We post, perform, and please, hoping for the reward of validation. But here's the problem. External validation is never enough. The moment you get it, you need more. And when you don't get it, you feel empty. It's like drinking salt water. It looks refreshing, but the more you consume, the thirstier you become. So you start adjusting yourself, toning down your voice, changing your style, hiding your opinions, all to keep the peace or fit in. But every time you do, you chip away a little more of your authenticity. And confidence can't survive where authenticity is missing. Let's simplify it. Confidence equals authenticity times self-respect. If either of those drops, your confidence collapses. When you live for approval, you say, yes, when you mean, no. You over-explain yourself. You measure your worth by likes, attention, or applause. You hesitate to take action because you fear judgment. But when you live for growth, you take responsibility for your choices. You focus on becoming better, not being liked. You stop performing and start becoming. You start living your truth, even when it's unpopular. That's where freedom begins. And confidence thrives in freedom. Ask yourself this. Are you living for approval or for growth? Approval-seeking mindset, growth mindset. I hope they like me. I hope I grow from this. Avoids failure, embraces learning. Lives for validation, lives for evolution. Plays small, takes bold action. Imitates others, improves self. Controlled by opinions, guided by purpose. When you shift from approval to growth, you stop asking, will they like me? And start asking, will this make me stronger? That one shift changes everything. Detachment doesn't mean you don't care about people. It means you don't let their opinions control your direction. It's emotional maturity. It's learning to separate who you are from how others see you. Remember this. Most people's opinions about you are not about you. They're about them. Their fears, their projections, their insecurities. If someone calls you too much, it's because they're used to people being less. If they mock your ambition, it's because it reminds them of what they're not doing. If they doubt your potential, it's because they've doubted their own. So why give their voices power over your destiny? Detachment means saying, you can think what you want, but I'm still becoming who I'm meant to be. That's confidence. That's peace. When you stop seeking approval, you'll experience something strange at first, silence. The applause stops. The compliments fade. Some people may distance themselves. And that silence can feel like rejection. But it's not rejection, it's transformation. Growth often feels lonely because you're breaking patterns that kept you accepted. But confidence doesn't come from being liked, it comes from being aligned. You'll find that the moment you stop performing for others, you'll finally have energy to perform for your purpose. You'll stop chasing, fitting in, and start building your own lane. Remember, the people who truly belong in your life will respect your evolution, not resent it. Every confident person you admire, from leaders to creators to athletes, had a moment where they stopped asking for permission to be great. They looked in the mirror and said, "I'm done living small for other people's comfort." That moment is where real power begins. Not when others clap for you. Not when you go viral. Not when the world believes in you, but when you believe in you. That's when your actions shift from performing to creating. From proving to expressing. From fear to flow. The easiest way to stop chasing approval is to focus on purpose. Purpose gives direction. Approval gives distraction. When you have a purpose, a reason bigger than yourself, you stop wasting energy worrying about opinions. Because you realize that every great mission attracts both admiration and criticism. Think about it. Every innovator was once mocked. Every visionary was once doubted. Every confident person was once misunderstood. So if people don't get you right now, that's fine. You're not here to be understood immediately. You're here to evolve intentionally. Purpose turns external noise into background sound. You hear it, but it doesn't shake you. Here's a daily exercise to strengthen your self-validation muscle. 1. Start each morning with self-affirmation. Say, "I approve of myself." Repeat it until it feels true, even if it starts as a whisper. 2. Acknowledge effort, not outcome. At the end of each day, ask, "Did I grow today?" Not, "Did I win?" but "Did I learn, try, or stretch myself?" 3. Journal your wins. Write down 3 times you acted in alignment with your truth, no matter how small. This rewires your brain to see yourself as your own validator. 4. Detach from metrics. If you post online, create without obsession over likes or views. Focus on impact, not impression. 5. Reframe criticism. When someone criticizes you, don't react, extract. Ask, "Is there something useful here?" If yes, learn. If not, let it go. These small acts of internal validation build a deep kind of confidence that no compliment or comment can match. Let's face it, the crowd is fickle. They'll cheer for you today and forget you tomorrow. They'll celebrate your wins and gossip about your mistakes. If you depend on their applause, you'll dance for them forever. But when you start seeking growth, you realize something liberating. You don't need the crowd to clap, you just need to keep climbing. And here's the secret: when you climb high enough, the noise fades anyway. From the mountain peak, you don't hear the crowd below, you hear your own heartbeat. You hear peace. That's where confident people live, above the noise. Authenticity is magnetic. When you stop trying to impress people, you start inspiring them. Confidence doesn't come from being perfect, it comes from being real. People may not agree with you, but they'll respect your courage. They'll see the strength in your honesty. The paradox? When you stop trying to be liked, you often become more likable, because people can sense when you're genuine. So stop rehearsing your personality. Stop editing your truth. Start living boldly, imperfectly, and honestly. That's how confidence breathes. Confidence is not built by chasing applause, it's built by chasing growth. Don't let your self-worth depend on who claps. Let it depend on who you become. Remember this: you're not here to fit into their story. You're here to write your own. You're not here to be liked by everyone. You're here to love yourself deeply. You're not here to perform. You're here to evolve. The day you stop seeking approval is the day you start owning your power. And that's the day your confidence becomes unshakable. Chapter 6. Stand tall. The power of posture and presence. Have you ever noticed how confidence looks before it's ever spoken? You can see it in how someone walks, stands, breathes, and moves through a room. They haven't said a word, but somehow, you already feel their presence. That's not magic. That's embodied confidence, the kind of confidence that radiates from posture, presence, and energy. And here's the secret most people don't realize. You can train your body to feel confident long before your mind fully catches up. Because the truth is, how you carry yourself physically shapes how you carry yourself mentally. Long before you open your mouth, your body has already spoken. Your posture, your facial expression, your eye contact, your gestures, they all send messages to your brain and to the people around you. Think about it. Slouched shoulders tell your brain, "I'm unsure." A dropped head says, "I'm small." Avoiding eye contact whispers, "I'm not ready." Your brain listens. It takes those physical cues and creates emotional states to match them. That's why when you stand tall, chest open, shoulders back, chin up, you feel stronger. You start breathing deeper, your heartbeat steadies, Your thoughts sharpen. It's not just a trick, it's biology. Psychologists call this embodied cognition, the idea that your body doesn't just express emotion, it creates it. So, if you want to feel more confident, start by acting like it. Walk like the version of you who already believes. Stand like someone who belongs. Move like someone who's earned their place. Soon, your mind will fall in line with your movement. Amy Cuddy, a Harvard researcher, once gave a famous TED Talk on power poses. Her research showed that standing in open, confident postures for just 2 minutes can increase testosterone, the dominance hormone, and decrease cortisol, the stress hormone. In other words, when you take up space physically, your brain starts to believe you deserve that space. Here's the simple equation: open body equals open mind. Closed body equals closed confidence. When you sit hunched, cross your arms tightly, or make yourself small, your body tells your brain, I'm under threat. You instantly go into self-protection mode. But when you stand upright, expand your chest, and keep your head level, your brain gets the message, I'm safe. I'm in control, and that message shapes how you think, speak, and show up. Confidence is not just a mental game, it's a physical language. Let's break it down. Every time you walk into a room, an interview, a class, or even your mirror, check these 5 posture signals. 1. Head up. Look straight ahead, not down. It signals awareness and self-assurance. 2. Shoulders back. Roll them back gently. It opens your chest and expands your breathing. 3. Stand grounded. Keep your feet shoulder width apart. You'll feel balanced and stable. 4. Relaxed jaw and hands. Confidence doesn't mean stiffness, it's calm strength. Loosen your grip. Breathe. 5. Slow, controlled movements. Confident people don't rush. Their movements are deliberate, their energy steady. Try it now. Take a deep breath. Straighten up. Lift your head slightly. Feel that? That's not fake. That's your body telling your mind, we got this. Posture is the body of confidence. Presence is its soul. Presence means being fully here, not lost in your phone, your thoughts, or your worries. It's when your energy fills the space around you because you're anchored in the moment. When someone with strong presence enters a room, people notice, not because they're loud, but because they're here. They listen deeply. They make eye contact. They don't fidget or rush their words. They give their full attention, and in doing so, they command attention back. You don't need to dominate to have presence. You just need to be rooted. Presence says, I belong here. And confidence echoes, I know I do. Eye contact is one of the quickest ways to project confidence, and also one of the hardest for those who lack it. Why? Because the eyes are mirrors. They reveal your self-perception instantly. But here's the good news, you can train it. Start small. Hold eye contact for 2 to 3 seconds when talking. Look at people's eyes when shaking hands. Practice in the mirror while affirming yourself. The goal isn't to stare, it's to connect. Steady eye contact says, I see you, but more importantly, it says, I see myself. And that's what confidence looks like. Every person radiates energy, call it aura, vibe, or presence. You've felt it before. Someone walks into a room and instantly changes the atmosphere. You can sense positivity, peace, or power without a single word spoken. That's not coincidence, it's energetic congruence. Their internal state matches their external expression. They're aligned. You can't fake that kind of energy for long, but you can cultivate it. Here's how. 1. Center yourself before you enter. Take 1 deep breath before walking into any space. Remind yourself, I bring value wherever I go. 2. Visualize energy expansion. Imagine your confidence expanding from your chest outward, like light filling the room. 3. Smile genuinely. A calm, sincere smile disarms tension. It signals warmth and strength, not arrogance. 4. Own the space. Don't hide in corners or behind your phone. Step forward. Be seen. Confidence is not about being the loudest, it's about being the most grounded. Your breath is your anchor. Nervous people breathe shallow and fast, confident people breathe deep and steady. Before any important moment, a presentation, a meeting, a date, try this. Inhale deeply for 4 seconds. Hold for 2, exhale for 6. This slows your heart rate, clears your mind, and relaxes your body. You'll walk in calm, centered, and ready, the state where true confidence lives. Your breath is like a remote control for your nervous system. Master it, and you master your presence. So many people wait to feel confident before acting confidently. But that's backward. Confidence grows when you act as if you already have it. You don't fake it, you train it. When you practice standing tall, making eye contact, breathing deeply, and walking with intention, you teach your brain a new normal. Over time, your body stops waiting for permission to be confident. It simply becomes your default setting. Here's a powerful exercise, simple, but transformative. Every morning, stand in front of the mirror. Straighten your posture, look yourself in the eyes. Say out loud, I stand tall because I deserve to take up space. I carry myself like someone who matters, because I do. I am confident, and my presence speaks before I do. Repeat it daily for 30 days. You'll notice a difference, not just in how you look, but how you feel. Because every time you see yourself stand tall, your mind starts believing, I am tall, I am strong, I am enough. When you stand tall, you don't just appear confident, you become confident. When your body reflects self-respect, your mind follows suit. So lift your chin, open your shoulders, breathe deeply, don't shrink for comfort, don't fold for fear. Let your body speak the truth your heart already knows. You belong here, you are capable, you are unshakable. Confidence is not just what you think, it's how you move. You can speak confidence before you ever say a word. So, wherever you go, carry this with you. Stand tall. Walk proud, speak slow, breathe deep. Your posture is your silent declaration to the world that you're no longer hiding, you're here. Because real confidence isn't about being seen. It's about seeing yourself clearly, and standing tall enough to let the world see it too. Chapter 7. Master the art of preparation. Confidence is not luck, it's not charisma, it's not something you fake until you make. Confidence is competence remembered. The quiet knowing that you're ready because you've prepared. The people who seem effortlessly confident aren't winging it. They've simply done the work behind the scenes so that when the spotlight hits, they're not hoping, they're ready. Preparation is what turns fear into focus. It's what separates those who panic under pressure from those who perform with poise. And if you master the art of preparation, you'll never have to chase confidence again. It'll follow you everywhere you go. Let's get one thing clear. Confidence without preparation is just arrogance in disguise. Arrogance says, I don't need to get ready. Confidence says, I've done the work. Arrogance hopes things go well. Confidence knows they will. Not because of luck, but because of effort. Every speech that flows naturally, every performance that seems effortless, every business pitch that feels powerful, they all have one thing in common: hours of unseen preparation. The stage is where confidence shows. The preparation room is where confidence grows. Preparation rewires your brain for certainty. It eliminates the unknowns, the biggest trigger for anxiety. When you prepare deeply, your brain says, we've been here before. And when your brain feels familiar, it relaxes. It allows you to perform instead of panic. That's why athletes train obsessively. That's why great speakers rehearse until their words sound natural. That's why successful people plan before they move. They know that pressure doesn't build confidence, preparation does. Here's how it works. You prepare. You perform well because you're prepared. You gain evidence that you're capable. That evidence becomes confidence. Confidence motivates you to prepare even better next time. That's the confidence loop. It builds upward, one preparation at a time. Most people break the loop by skipping step 1. They wing it. Then they stumble, lose faith, and wonder why they lack confidence. Confidence is not missing. It's just untrained. There's a science to preparing like a pro. Whether it's an exam, a job interview, a presentation, or a life goal, the method is the same. 1. Clarify the goal. Be specific. Don't say, I want to be ready. Say, I want to confidently explain my idea in 5 minutes, or, I want to deliver a smooth 10-slide pitch. When you define the target, your preparation has direction. 2. Break it down. Big goals paralyze. Small goals mobilize. Divide your preparation into steps. For example, research, outline, practice, review, refine. Every big performance is built on small, focused sessions. 3. Simulate the real thing. Rehearse under real conditions. If you're giving a speech, practice it standing up, out loud. If you're interviewing, record yourself answering questions. If you're competing, visualize the environment and feel the emotions in advance. The more you simulate, the calmer your body will feel when it's real. 4. Refine through feedback. Confidence grows when you face reality, not fantasy. Ask for constructive feedback. Adjust. Repeat. Strong people aren't afraid of criticism, they use it as fuel. 5. Rest and reset. Over-preparation without rest leads to burnout and tension, not confidence. Rest allows your mind to integrate what you've learned. Remember, confidence is clarity, not chaos. You don't rise to the level of your goals. you fall to the level of your preparation. Practice builds muscle memory, not just for your body, but for your brain. When you repeat something enough, it becomes instinct. That's why a musician can perform flawlessly in front of thousands. That's why a trained boxer doesn't hesitate when the bell rings. That's why a student who studied deeply walks into the exam hall with calm assurance. Their preparation has turned into reflex. You don't need to think confidence, you become it. There's something powerful about doing the work when no one is watching. It's in the early mornings, the late nights, the silent repetitions, the unseen effort that no one claps for, but everyone feels when you show up. That's what builds unshakable confidence, not applause, not luck, but quiet mastery. Preparation is private discipline that creates public strength. Now, here's a warning. Preparation is powerful, but perfectionism is a trap. The goal of preparation is readiness, not flawless control. Perfection kills momentum because it keeps you stuck in the not yet zone, always preparing, never performing. At some point, you have to trust your preparation and step into the arena. Perfection says, it's not good enough yet. Confidence says, it's good enough to grow from. You don't need to be perfect to start. You just need to be prepared to improve. Ever noticed how calm, confident people sound? It's not because they're fearless, it's because they're ready. Preparation breeds peace. It silences overthinking. It turns chaos into clarity. When you've studied the map, you don't fear the road. When you've practiced the speech, you don't fear the silence. When you've rehearsed the moves, you don't fear the moment. Confidence is just preparation meeting opportunity. Confidence doesn't just come from external readiness, it also comes from mental rehearsal. Here are 3 techniques top performers use. 1. Visualization. Close your eyes and see yourself succeeding. Imagine walking through the situation calmly and powerfully. Feel the emotions, the control, the ease, the certainty. The brain doesn't fully distinguish between imagined success and real success. Visualizing it repeatedly builds the same neural confidence pathways. 2. Affirmation before action. Repeat. I am prepared. I am capable. I am ready. This reinforces what your preparation has already proven. 3. Anchoring confidence. Before an important moment, recall a time you performed well. Feel that pride again. Anchor it with a gesture, like touching your chest or taking a deep breath. Your brain will link that gesture to the confident state, allowing you to summon it anytime. Here's the beautiful truth: preparation compounds. Every skill you practice now adds to your future confidence bank. Every moment you choose to prepare instead of procrastinate strengthens your self-trust. And over time, preparation becomes your personality. You stop waiting for the right moment, you create it. Confident people don't hope for opportunities, they prepare for them. That's why opportunities find them. When you prepare, you're saying, my goals matter enough to get ready. You're saying, I respect my future self too much to show up unprepared. That's self-love disguised as discipline. And discipline, as you've learned, builds confidence. When you walk into any room fully prepared, your energy says, I belong here. Not because you're pretending to, but because you've earned the right to. Preparation is the quiet art of confidence. It's what turns anxiety into assurance and dreams into delivery. So don't just wish to be confident, train to be. Don't just want to feel ready, become ready. Because when preparation meets opportunity, the result isn't luck, it's mastery. And mastery feels like calm. It looks like grace. It sounds like certainty. That's the power of preparation, the foundation of the unshakable. Chapter 8. Learn the language of self-respect. Confidence doesn't begin with a loud voice or a bold move. It begins with a quiet decision, the decision to respect yourself. Every confident person you admire has one thing in common. They know their worth, and they live like it. Self-respect isn't pride, it isn't arrogance, it's clarity. It's knowing who you are, what you deserve, and what you will no longer tolerate. And when you learn the language of self-respect, everything about you begins to change: your tone, your choices, your energy, your boundaries, your life. Self-respect is not about thinking you're better than others. It's about refusing to think you're less. It's the understanding that your time, peace, and energy are valuable, and that you have every right to protect them. When you truly respect yourself, you stop begging for attention and start attracting it. You stop chasing validation and start living in alignment. Confidence grows from that alignment, from living a life that matches your value. Let's be real. Many people don't struggle with low confidence because they're untalented or unworthy. They struggle because they've been betraying themselves. Every time you say yes when you want to say no, every time you shrink yourself to make someone else comfortable, Every time you stay quiet when you should speak up, you chip away at your self-respect. And every piece you lose takes a bit of your confidence with it. Confidence is not something you build once. It's something you protect daily, by keeping your dignity intact. The 3 forms of self-disrespect. 1. Allowing disrespect from others. When you tolerate behavior that disrespects you, you're teaching people how to treat you. Silence becomes permission. You don't need to fight everyone who wrongs you, but you must walk away from people who repeatedly cross your boundaries. 2. Disrespecting your own standards. Self-disrespect also happens internally. When you set standards and keep lowering them for convenience or fear of losing people, you tell yourself, I don't matter as much. Real confidence is holding your standard even when it costs you comfort. 3. Ignoring your inner voice. That gut feeling, that small whisper inside that says, this isn't right, is your self-respect talking. Every time you ignore it, it gets quieter. But when you honor it, it becomes louder and steadier. That voice is your compass, follow it. Boundaries are not walls, they're doors with locks. They let the right people in and keep the wrong ones out. Without boundaries, you leak confidence. You start living reactively, always adjusting yourself to please others. Boundaries protect your energy, your time, and your identity. And here's the truth. People who benefit from your lack of boundaries will call them selfish when you finally set them. Ignore that noise. You're not being difficult, you're being clear. Learning this language means changing how you talk, to others and to yourself. Here are 5 ways to speak it fluently. 1. Use clear, direct language. Stop apologizing for existing. Instead of saying, I'm sorry, I just wanted to ask, say, I have a question. Instead of saying, if it's not too much trouble, say, here's what I need. Confidence is calm clarity, not aggression, not arrogance. 2. Say, no, without explaining. A confident, no, doesn't require a paragraph of justification. You don't owe people your exhaustion to earn their approval. No, thank you. That doesn't work for me. I'm not available. Simple, firm, respectful. 3. Ask for what you deserve. Closed mouths don't get fed. If you've worked hard, ask for the raise. If you're in a relationship, ask for respect. If you're in a friendship, ask for reciprocity. Self-respect means believing you're worthy of fairness, and acting like it. 4. Protect your energy. Not every argument deserves your attention. Not every insult deserves your response. Sometimes the most powerful move is silence and distance. Your peace is not negotiable. 5. Speak kindly to yourself. Confidence dies when your self-talk becomes abuse. Replace I'm not enough with I'm improving every day. Replace I always mess things up with I'm learning as I go. The way you talk to yourself teaches the world how to talk to you. Self-respect doesn't mean you stop listening or admitting mistakes. It means you value yourself even when you fall. Arrogance says, I'm never wrong. Self-respect says, I'm worthy even when I'm wrong. That's strength with humility. That's what makes confidence sustainable. Because confidence that depends on being perfect is fragile. But confidence built on self-respect is unshakable. When you walk into a room with self-respect, people feel it before you speak. You carry an energy that says, I belong here. You're not desperate to impress. You're not afraid of rejection. You're not competing for validation. You simply exist with dignity, and that is magnetic. The world treats you according to the energy you carry, and self-respect radiates power that demands respect in return. Maybe you've compromised too much. Maybe you've allowed people to take more than they gave. Maybe you've lost pieces of yourself trying to keep others happy. That's okay. Self-respect can be rebuilt, and it begins with small promises. Start by saying no once where you used to say yes. Start by keeping one small boundary. Start by spending one evening doing what nourishes you. Every small act of self-respect is a brick in the foundation of your confidence. And soon, those bricks form walls strong enough to hold the version of you that no longer bends to please everyone. The employee who spoke up. She stopped letting her boss take credit for her work. She didn't argue, she documented her results and spoke with clarity. That wasn't ego, that was self-respect. The friend who walked away. He realized that his so-called friends only called when they needed something. He didn't create drama, he just stopped showing up for one-sided relationships. That wasn't pride, that was peace. The partner who set boundaries. They said, I love you, but I won't accept being spoken to like that. That wasn't weakness, that was worthiness. Every story of confidence begins with a moment of self-respect. When you respect yourself, you stop over-explaining. You stop chasing closure from people who hurt you. You stop apologizing for existing in your full power. You start standing taller, You start walking with intention. You start trusting your own judgment. That's the quiet confidence that needs no validation, because it comes from truth, not applause. Self-respect is the mother of confidence. It's the invisible language that tells the world, I value myself. You don't have to shout it. You don't have to prove it. You just have to live it, daily, intentionally, courageously. So, honor your boundaries. Speak with clarity. Walk away when needed. Forgive yourself when you fall, and keep rising with grace. Because when you master the language of self-respect, you no longer ask for confidence, you embody it. That's how you become unshakable. Chapter 9. Surround yourself with energy builders, not drainers. Confidence isn't just about what you do. It's also about who you're around. You can be doing all the right things, practicing discipline, affirming your worth, preparing, showing up, but if you're surrounded by people who constantly drain your energy, question your dreams, or make you doubt yourself, your confidence will leak away, quietly and consistently. You don't grow confidence in a toxic environment. You grow it in alignment, around people who feed your fire, not those who pour water on it. Your energy is your life's currency, and who you give it to determines how rich or empty you feel. Every interaction is an exchange. You either leave people feeling stronger or smaller, and they either leave you feeling energized or exhausted. It's that simple. Some people walk into a room and light it up. Others walk in and dim it down. And your confidence, that inner flame of self-belief, burns brighter or weaker depending on who you let close enough to influence it. You can't expect to stay on fire if you're always standing in the rain. Let's make it plain. Energy builders are the ones who celebrate your wins without envy, remind you of your strengths when you forget them, push you to grow, not guilt you for changing, tell you the truth, with love, inspire you to become more without shaming who you are. They fuel your confidence because their energy matches your elevation. Energy drainers, on the other hand, criticize more than they contribute. See your growth as a threat instead of motivation. Gossip, complain, and spread negativity like wildfire. Use your kindness but never return it. Dismiss your dreams because they've given up on theirs. They don't just waste your time, they rob your self-belief. And if you're not careful, their voices can become your inner voice. Our brains are wired for emotional contagion. That means we absorb the moods, attitudes, and emotional states of those around us, even subconsciously. Sit around confident, positive, disciplined people, and your brain mirrors that energy. Sit around bitter, fearful, or lazy people, and your mind starts mimicking their patterns too. It's not weakness, it's biology. That's why the people you keep close are shaping your confidence more than you realize. You become like those you spend the most time with, not instantly, but inevitably. Take a moment and think about the 5 people you interact with most. Now ask yourself, do they make me feel inspired or insecure? Do they hold me accountable or hold me back? Do they speak life into me or drain it out of me? Because your circle doesn't just reflect your comfort, it reflects your standard. If you're surrounded by people who think small, complain daily, and fear growth, it's hard to think big, stay positive, and move forward. Not because you lack motivation, but because you're swimming against the current. You can't fly high if your flock prefers the ground. Energy builders don't just make you feel good, they grow you. They remind you of who you are when you forget. They challenge you, not to criticize, but to help you evolve. They listen with care, not competition. They celebrate your growth because they're growing too. They see your light and help you polish it, not dim it. Being around people like that teaches you something powerful. You don't have to fight for respect when you're in the right room. Confidence feels natural in the presence of people who believe in you. It's not just about who you attract, it's about who you are. Confidence isn't selfish, it's contagious. When you walk in with self-assurance, integrity, and positivity, you become an energy builder for others. Here's how to do it. 1. Encourage without comparing. Celebrate others' wins without jealousy. Confidence multiplies when it's shared. 2. Offer truth with grace. Real friends don't flatter, they refine. Say what needs to be said, but with kindness. 3. Protect the vibe. Don't engage in gossip or negativity. Be the thermostat, not the thermometer. Set the emotional temperature. 4. Be reliable. Keep your word. Consistency builds trust, and trust is the soil where confidence grows. When you give positive energy, you attract people who do the same. That's how strong, confident communities are built, through reciprocal respect. Here's a hard truth. You can't heal in the same environment that broke your confidence. Sometimes growth means outgrowing, not with anger, not with ego, but with clarity. If someone constantly drains you, manipulates you, or makes you doubt yourself, you don't need to explain your distance, you just need to protect your peace. It doesn't mean you hate them. It means you love yourself enough to step away. It's okay to love people from afar. It's okay to choose peace over proximity. It's okay to say, we're not on the same frequency anymore. That's not betrayal, that's evolution. Confidence doesn't grow in chaos. It grows in order. Your environment is more than people. It's your space, your habits, your digital diet, your atmosphere. Ask yourself, what do I read, watch, and listen to every day? Does my environment reflect where I'm going or where I've been? Do I have reminders of my goals or clutter that distracts me? If your surroundings constantly remind you of your past failures, it's hard to believe in your future success. Rebuild your space with intention, quotes, vision boards, books, playlists, silence, light. Create an environment that feeds your confidence daily. Confidence isn't built in one moment. It's built through daily protection of your mental and emotional energy. Every no to negativity is a yes to your confidence. Every boundary you enforce strengthens your self-trust. Every decision to walk away from draining conversations keeps your mind clear for growth. The more you protect your energy, the stronger your confidence becomes, because it's no longer under attack. Here's how to know you're around an energy drainer. You feel tense or anxious after being with them. You feel the need to defend your dreams. You walk away mentally tired, not emotionally lifted. You can't be your full self without being judged or mocked. If you feel smaller around someone, that's your intuition speaking. Listen to it. Your energy knows when it's not safe. You don't need hundreds of people. You need a core few who believe in you when you doubt yourself. Look for people who challenge you with love. People who cheer for your progress, not your perfection. People who talk about ideas, not people. People who remind you to stay humble but keep going. That's your confidence tribe. Protect it, water it, grow with it, and if you can't find one right now, build one. Be the energy you wish existed, and you'll attract it. When you surround yourself with energy builders, you don't just gain confidence, you radiate it. You start making decisions with strength instead of fear. You start walking with purpose instead of hesitation. You start giving others permission to do the same. Confidence is not a solo act, it's a shared vibration. When you rise, others rise too. And that's how the world changes, one confident, grounded person at a time. Confidence isn't something you guard in isolation, it's something you nurture in community. Surround yourself with people who see your potential even on your low days. People who speak life when you're doubting yourself. People whose energy makes you want to do better, be better, and live better. And just as importantly, be that person for others. Because in the end, confidence is an ecosystem. It thrives where energy is pure, respect is mutual, and growth is celebrated. So protect your peace, cherish your tribe, and keep your fire burning bright, only around those who fan the flame. That's how you stay unshakable. Chapter 10. Become the person you admire. Confidence isn't about pretending to be someone else. It's about becoming the version of yourself you've always known you could be. Every time you look at someone and say, I admire their strength. I wish I could be that confident, or, I want that kind of peace. What you're really saying is, there's a part of me that already recognizes that greatness. Admiration is a mirror. You only notice in others what already exists, in seed form, within you. The goal isn't to worship others, it's to wake up the version of yourself that you admire most. That's the journey from insecurity to identity, from self-doubt to self-mastery, from fear to unshakable confidence. Becoming the person you admire isn't about reinventing yourself, it's about remembering who you are underneath fear, doubt, and conditioning. Confidence isn't added from the outside, it's uncovered from the inside. It's been there all along, hidden beneath years of criticism, comparison, and survival mode. You don't find confidence, you free it. Here's a truth most people miss. You don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your identity. If you see yourself as shy, unworthy, or incapable, you'll act in ways that confirm it, even if your goals are big. But if you start to see yourself as disciplined, capable, and worthy, you'll naturally behave like that version of you. Confidence flows from identity. You can't act confident for long if you still believe you're small inside. So the question is, who are you becoming? Close your eyes and imagine the person you admire most, but make them you, 5 years from now. What do they look like? How do they walk? How do they speak? What do they tolerate? And what do they no longer entertain? How do they start their mornings? How do they treat people and themselves? That person isn't fantasy. That's the blueprint, Now, the path to confidence becomes clear. Do, think, and decide as that version of yourself, today. Here's the secret used by world-class performers, athletes, and leaders. They act as if they're already the person they're becoming. It's not pretending, it's priming. When you act as if you're confident, focused, and capable, your brain begins wiring itself to match that identity. Your posture shifts, your language sharpens, your energy stabilizes, and slowly, your reality catches up. That's how transformation begins, not from waiting to feel ready, but from behaving ready. Becoming the person you admire isn't a single moment, it's a series of repeated choices. Here are key daily behaviors that make transformation real. 1. Keep small promises. Big change begins with small integrity. Every time you keep your word, even in private, your brain says, I can trust myself. And that self-trust turns into quiet confidence. 2. Speak with intention. Words are programming. If you keep saying, I'm trying, you stay in limbo. If you start saying, I'm improving, your brain looks for evidence of growth. Language builds identity. Choose words that match who you're becoming. 3. Dress, move, and carry yourself with purpose. You don't need fancy clothes, just self-respect. When you take care of how you show up, your mind follows your body's signal. I matter. 4. Do what scares you, regularly. Fear shrinks when you face it. Courage grows from repetition. Every brave act is a deposit in your confidence account. 5. Protect your standards. The person you admire doesn't chase validation, they live by values. Hold your boundaries. Stand by your principles. Each moment of self-respect strengthens your inner power. To become the person you admire, you'll need to let go of a few things. The fear of judgment. Confidence dies where comparison lives. You can't become yourself while trying to please everyone else. The habit of playing small. Hiding your light won't make others shine brighter, it just keeps you in the shadows. The need for constant validation. You don't need permission to be powerful. The more you validate yourself, the less you depend on applause. The guilt of outgrowing people. Growth isn't betrayal. You're not meant to stay in every version of your past. Some people were lessons, not lifetimes. Each layer you shed reveals the strength that was already there. There's a huge difference between looking confident and being confident. Performed confidence is loud, defensive, and easily shaken. It needs attention to survive. Authentic confidence is quiet, calm, and grounded. It doesn't demand respect, it commands it. The person you admire isn't trying to prove themselves. They simply know themselves. Confidence without authenticity feels hollow. But authenticity without confidence feels muted. When you merge both, you become unstoppable. Confidence isn't built by one big act, it's built by consistent alignment. Every day you choose to act like the person you admire, you close the gap between who you are and who you're becoming. Even when no one notices. Even when it's uncomfortable. Even when progress feels slow. Because small aligned actions compound. And one day, you'll look back and realize, you became the person you once looked up to. Not overnight, not through luck, but through daily choice. Every morning, stand in front of the mirror and ask, am I becoming the person I said I'd be? If the answer is no, don't shame yourself, realign. If the answer is yes, keep building. This habit turns your mirror from a critic into a compass. Confidence grows when you live in truth, not in perfection. The quiet student who became a leader. He used to avoid attention. Now he leads presentations, not because he became someone else, but because he decided to stop apologizing for being capable. The mother who found her voice. After years of silence, she learned to say, no, with grace. That wasn't rebellion, it was self-respect. The dreamer who took action. He stopped waiting for inspiration and started waking up early to work. That daily discipline turned him from doubter to doer. Each story begins the same way, with one decision. I'm done wishing. I'm becoming. Every decision you make today is either feeding or starving your future self. When you skip your goals, she notices. When you keep your word, she thanks you. Becoming the person you admire means living with future gratitude, doing today what your tomorrow self will be proud of. Every time you honor that future version of you, confidence deepens. Because now, your choices and your identity align. Here's the most beautiful part. When you finally become the person you admire, you stop chasing admiration altogether. You don't need to prove your worth, you embody it. You don't need to force opportunities, they find you because your energy attracts alignment. You don't need to seek validation, you radiate self-trust. Confidence becomes your resting state, not your performance. Becoming the person you admire is not about changing who you are. It's about remembering who you were before the world told you to doubt it. You've already seen glimpses of that person, in your discipline, your compassion, your moments of courage. Now it's time to live there permanently. Act as that person, speak as that person, decide as that person, show up as that person, every single day. Because confidence isn't found in wishing, it's found in becoming. And when you become the person you admire, you don't just change your life. You inspire everyone watching to believe they can too. That's the essence of being unshakable. Take a deep breath, not the shallow kind, but one that reaches deep into your chest. Because what you just finished wasn't a lecture. It was a transformation. You've walked through 10 powerful behaviors, each one a brick in the foundation of something greater, you. You've learned to show up for yourself, to speak power into your mind, to face fear head-on, to keep promises, to stop seeking approval and start seeking growth, to stand tall, prepare deeply, respect yourself, choose your circle, and finally, to become the person you admire. That's not just progress, that's proof. You are the evidence that confidence can be built, not borrowed. That greatness can come from humble beginnings. That strength doesn't require perfection, only persistence. You've proven that confidence isn't noise, it's presence. It's the calm that whispers, no matter what happens, I'll handle it. Confidence isn't something you perform. It's something you live. You've built that through action, through awareness, through showing up when no one was watching. Remember, confidence isn't a destination. It's a daily choice. Every sunrise gives you another chance to live out what you've learned here. Every challenge becomes a mirror asking, who are you becoming? And you'll answer, not with words, but with the way you walk, the way you speak, the way you handle life. Because confidence doesn't say, I hope. It says, I know. You know you can rebuild. You know you can rise. You know you can lead. You are no longer chasing confidence, you are confidence. So as this audiobook fades out, let these words stay. You are enough. You are growing. You are unshakable. And when people ask you, how did you build your confidence? You'll smile and say, I became the person I used to look up to. Because now, you are the proof. You've been listening to 10 Daily Behaviors That Build Unbreakable Confidence. Brought to you by Audiobook Hub 11. Subscribe for more.